to Mayo 2022, and today is the last day of the public forum on Mayo 2022. There are two panel discussions, a closing roundtable discussion, and film screening and discussion. So before we go into the first session of the morning, may I have the logistic announcement? Snack is all available a whole day. So in case that you're hungry, you can grab the snack and back to the room. And also exhibition room is still on. And in addition to this exhibition, we have another one today called plastic waste exhibitions to be installed today. And also we have the free watershed magazine to give away. And in the exhibition hall, we also have the donation box to support the activists in Myanmar. And if you use the interpretation headset, please exchange with your ID card or passport and return it to the registration desk when you finish using it or at the end of the day. And lunch will be given to those who have registered with us, so you have name tag that you can get a lunch. And one more announcement is at the end of today, as it is the last day, we will have the dinner party together. So it will start at 6:30. We will walk to the restaurant together. Okay. So this morning, there are two panel discussions. The first panel discussion is Raising the Voice of the Forest People, a dialogue crossing the border. And it's followed by the panel on In the Eye of the Regional Journalists. So without further ado, let me proceed to the first panel of this morning, Raising the Voice of the Forest People, a dialogue crossing border. May I invite all the speaker and moderator on stage, please. So this panel is organized by Land Voice Thai and the World Rainforest Movement. It is moderated by Kun Surin Onprom, an independent academic. So Kun Surin, the floor is yours.
Okay, very good morning, everyone, and welcome to our the first session. I'm very excited to be here. Like was invited by Pikung to be a moderator, but by the so like the way we are going to do in this session, like try to make it more like relaxed and fun, not to it kinds of like this storytelling. So like we like at our panelists to tell the story and reflection on like the issue that is happening at the moment. It's about the people and the forest and the land issue. And as you know, that is the community forest and forest community, forest people, indigenous people, around the world being facing difficulties and also like it's being displaced from their land because of the like the policy and also because of the development project. So like today we are going to reflect on that. But before we start our session, we like to our panelists to introduce yourself, very brief. What about your organization, where you come from, please. Start from you, Soumitra. Just like introduce your organization and the background.
Hello, everybody. I am Soumitra Ghosh from India. I'm from a loose alliance of forest movements which are active with forest issues in India.
Thanks, Soumitra. Next speaker.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pornpana. You can call me Kung, my nicknames. I working with Land Watch Thais. My work focusing on land issue in Thailand. But in the past time, I used to be working in the Mekong regions, in Laos, Cambodia, yes, for example. I'm studying about the land concession in in Laos and Cambodia. And also I heard the people who was struggle on land issue in Cambodia sit here. You can share with us in this panel. Thank you.
Thanks, Pikung. Next.
Hello, good morning. My name is Joanna, and I am part of the World Rainforest Movement, or WRM. This is a very small initiative of activists that, with its main aim, is to support forest people's struggles to defend their territories and autonomy. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. And yeah, we like to start from Soumitra. Could you please tell us about the situation in India, about people, the land, and also the, like you say, forest conservation in India, please?
Thank you. I'll talk about India, but I'll talk also slightly more about, this whole process of so-called forest conservation or wildlife conservation, and the larger systemic politics behind that. So let me start from the India experience. As you all know, India is a vast country, and it has got many forest areas. And these forest areas have been ravaged, have been destroyed at will by the British colonizers when they colonized India more than 200 years ago. Forests were literally, swaths of forests were destroyed, their land use changed, and all the people that lived in the forest for millennia, they were evicted, at will. So, at some places, it's a question of history which is being repeated ad infinitum. I mean, all kinds of rulers, all kinds of invaders, plunderers, those who come from abroad and come to colonize a place, so they always destroy the fabric of that place, the landscape, not only the natural landscape, but the social landscape also. So the Britishers, they did that in India, and people were thrown out of the forests. And because of some entrenched resistance from the forest communities, they could not colonize all the places. They left certain places alone. They didn't venture into those, remote forest areas and mountain areas in the central India, also in the northeastern India, which adjoins Thailand and Myanmar and part of the same ecological continuity. So these areas the Britishers called excluded territories. So the British did not have any administrative kind of system in those areas. So people were free to pursue their own traditional lifestyles. But unfortunately, after India gained its political independence in 1947, things became worse for the forest and the forest communities. So they started something like production forestry, which means cutting away all the old trees and replanting that with garbage, like eucalyptus or exotic species. Like they planted, where I work, they planted a lot of teak, Tectona grandis, which in India is called Saigoon. So that was absolutely exotic in our area, and that takes away all the water that is on the ground and leaves the forest floor bereft of any kind of vegetation. So they kept on doing a lot of ecological damage, and they kept on pursuing the same colonial system of forestry, which means cutting the forests and then planting it up with commercial species, timber species or other species, which can be then sold outside in the market for revenue. And after a period of time, from around 1972, the Indian state and also the international community, quote unquote, it discovered that India is losing its tigers. And it started to float a tiger project. And what are the highlights of the Tiger project? It means creating very strong enclosures, putting up fences around the forests in the very same excluded areas which even the British colonizers left alone. And they put up those enclosures, they created many barriers and told people that you cannot live inside forest, neither can you use the forest. The forests are exclusively for the wildlife, tiger mainly. And down the line, it's 50 years since then. And India government keeps on pursuing the same policy of putting up more enclosures, of evicting people, and whenever there is a bit of struggle at one point of time, there has been repression also. People have been killed brutally, and their houses burned, and they were put into jail. The same thing which is happening in many parts of Thailand or in other countries of the world. So they simply do not allow the people any role in forest governance, in forest management, in pursuing their forest-dependent, forest-based lifestyles. They think this is a crime. This is a crime against the environment. That's what they say, at least. And there is this small booklet here. You can, if you can take a copy of that, you will see that there are many stories of atrocities and people's resistances in that book. And India now has, ironically, an act which gives the forest communities all the rights over their forests and territories. So they give them the power to, stop any project which is harmful to their cultural and natural heritage. If the communities think something, a dam perhaps, or a mining project is bad for the forest, they can stop it. But then, though it's written in the law, India government is not implementing the law. In fact, they are trying hard to dilute the positive essence of the law, a law which has been the result of many decades of the struggles, entrenched struggle by the forest communities of India. But, that is the story. I think it's not only of India, of many other countries. It's the same thing, it's the same policies, same priorities, which let corporations go and plunder, offshore areas or plunder their own countries. It lets, rampant, unrestricted mining go on in the, pristine forest areas, forest areas full of biodiversity. When a mining project comes, when a dam project comes, when a road building project comes, the governments simply don't bother about the biodiversity value of that region or whether tigers live there or not. It's a question of profit and which makes more profit. Conservation in the government terms has become a game of sorts, and a game which reaps a profit. Profit for the corporations then, profit for the forestry bureaucracy, because a lot of international money is coming to India and elsewhere in the name of wildlife conservation. And there is a very dirty trade-off going on. On the one hand, the Indian government is allowing its forest to be diverted for mining, for dam building, for road building, for putting up military installations. It is also destroying its coastline in the name of development. And it's taking money in lieu of the forest land from the corporations who are using the forest. And it's putting up, it's accumulated a huge fund over the years. And they are pumping that money to create new protected areas, new conservation areas, and to evict people from those protected areas. So it's blood money basically, you know. The people who have been evicted from mining, for dam building, for road building, they are not being compensated. They are not being rehabilitated. But you know, that money is being used for further exploiting the people, for further torturing the people. And it's pointless. You know, India's judiciary, India's state system, it's totally unresponsive to people's plights and people's misery. Only in a few places where people are putting a fight, people are uniting, and the struggle is going on, they had to move back or pull back. Like I can tell many stories, though I don't have time. Yeah, so it's, you know, I mean, it's the same thing, I think, pretty much true about most of the world's countries. So it's not only one state in India, but many states. So it's very important to understand that we cannot really, I was listening to the discussion yesterday, and I found a sense of helplessness, you know. There are brutalities, there are atrocities, and governments are not listening to it, any reasonable thing. But then governments today are not going to listen to people's democratic aspirations or democratic demands. We have to understand this, that governments are in cahoots, are in league with the capitalists outside the government or inside the government. So they work together. The governments and corporations work together. We cannot have any responsible, any ethical behavior from the corporations or from the government unless there are people's movements and we start looking outside this corrupt, this rotten, this horrible system which thrives on exploitation.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Soumitra, for telling us the story, like historical context of India from the colonization to the conservation. Like it's how local people been struggling with this context. And also, like I like your question that you raised about the conservation for whom, and also like the link between the government and also the corporation using the conservation for whom. That is, I think that is the critical question. Yeah, I love that. We gotta come back to you later about like it's how we move forward and out of this situation. So next, I like to move to Pikung. You said about the forest camps, and what about the situation in Thailand? Yeah, could you please tell us?
Yes, thank you, Ajahn Surin. I will present in Thai, if you can got the handset. Half a minute. How many people from Cambodia? Cambodia? Do you have a land stalker, right? Like your hand? Land stalker? Lost your land? Yeah. Okay, we can share together. Okay, ready? Okay, let me share. Okay. ภาษาไทยนะ ภาษาไทย จะขอเสนอประเด็นที่เป็น
issues that I would call crimes in the forest. And this, I get this word from the WRM bulletins. I think it is really the right word, forest crimes. And in Thailand, I'm going to talk about the last 8 years of the military regime, about the crimes that has happened during this period. But it doesn't mean that there was no crimes earlier. Yes, there has always been crime, in forest-related crime, in the last 30 years. But these 3 women, they were put in jail for 6 months on the charge of trespassing in the conserved forest, which is the land that they had been living there earlier. But the law says that they were living there illegally, so they were imprisoned for 6 months for their crime. And this is from the northeast province of Thailand called Chayapum. 14 people were also arrested and charged. And in the south of Thailand, this grandmother owns a small 5 to 7 hectare of rubber plantation or rubber orchard. So, but she was arrested for chopping down her old rubber trees. And these 3 cases came from the policy of the military junta called Reclaim the Forest, which happened all over Thailand in the north, the northeast, and the south over the last 8 years. And we have compiled the number of cases during this period. There were more than 20,000 cases which arose from this Reclaim the Forest policy. And 4,500 people were arrested. The rest actually were not arrested, but their land was taken away because they cannot go back to their land because they would be arrested if they go back there. So they had to leave their land. The latest case here, I've just been there. This is a Korean community in the Bangloy village in Guaycharoen National Park on the west of Thailand, near to Myanmar border. Because in Myanmar is a Karen state, the Karen in Thailand on the Thai side and on the Myanmar side, they were basically relatives, similar to the Thai and Cambodian along the borders. They are relatives, but that's in terms of their relationships. But the Thai state believes that these people came over from Myanmar, so to allow them to stay in the national park would cause concerns for national security, and they were actually been there for 25 years, and they tried to stay there, but they couldn't farm in the area, so they decided finally to go back home last year, and then they were arrested. 29 of them were arrested. This man cannot walk, but he was arrested for trespassing and cutting trees. So our question is, if he can't walk, how can he go and cut trees? But he was also charged along with others. This is his father, who actually died 3 years ago at 107 years of age. And he was born in the forest. And he was born before the National Park Law of Thailand was promulgated. And he was there 70 years before the National Park was declared. But he was not acknowledged by the Thai state. The Thai state has no word for indigenous peoples, not in Thai law. And then in 2014, he was actually brought from his home, and his home was burned. And also the greenery too. So that's what happened in the Gangkrajan National Park. Later, his nephew or grandchild called Billy, who has been working with the villagers in trying to reclaim their village. He was disappeared, and his bone was found in the tank this here in a lake. So in the northeast, there were also farmers being disappeared, and this man has lost his life, both of them. And if you look back at 20 years ago, this is a current man. He was actually, he died from jumping from a train when he was going up to Chiang Mai, because he heard that he heard a minister told him that he had to move from his village, so he jumped from the train. And another type of crime is a civil case of when people being charged for causing global warming. So they have to pay compensation like millions of baht. And this is also happened to people living in the forest. And my last slide here, in terms of the law, the Thai forest law, all these cases arose from the Thai law that do not acknowledge the people living in forests. But the latest, they actually increased the penalty for people who live in the forest, and if they are caught, so they can be put in prison for 1 to 20 years and a fine of US $600 to $60,000. So how can villagers pay these fines? These are the violence that is being imposed on the villagers by the law.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And listening to people is quite sad. I myself, I was a lecturer at the Faculty of Forestry, former lecturer in forestry. And when the coup came happened in Thailand, I decided to resign from the faculty. One of the reasons was I witnessed how the forest officials who actually came from our faculty, using the knowledge, violating the local people, particularly people living inside a conservation forest, national park, and wildlife sanctuary. So I decided no second opinion. I decided because it's quite sad to see that, and I myself witnessed how local people who living inside the forest struggling with their lives to live in their land, to claim their land, and they have to fight with the corporation like in India, because the government opened a kind of a channel, a policy channel for a corporation, a company, to gain access to the forest, and that on the name of the conservation and development. Yeah, it still happen in Thailand. We gonna come back to you, Pikung, and ask you what for the solution. Before we moving to Joanna, I gonna ask our friends from Cambodia. Do you have any story to share? And please one or two of you can share your story with us. Anyone like to share? Yes, please. you can come to like this here if you like.
Yes.
Peace. พี่กุ้ง cheer up. Oh, okay, good.
นั่นบอกใครนั่งขนมอ่ะเดี๋ยวใจนี่ก็บ้านចាខ្ញុំឈ្មោះអ៊ំភីមកពីខេត្តកំពង់ឆ្នាំងសហគមន៍ដីធ្លីខ្ញុំអត់មានបាត់បង់ប្រៃឈើទេតែបាត់បង់ដីធ្លីហើយតាមដែលខ្ញុំស្ដាប់មកគឺគួរឲ្យសង្វេគមែនទែនទាំងប្រជាជនជនជាតិដើមខេរ៉ែនដែលចូលមកនៅប្រទេសថៃហើយនៅយូរយ៉ាងណាស់ហើយក៏ត្រូវរដ្ឋបាលចោទប្រកាន់គាត់ហើយប្រជាជនកម្ពុជាក៏ដូចគ្នាអត់ខុសគ្នាទេម្ចាស់ដីត្រូវគេចាប់ដាក់គុកត្រូវគេចោទប្រកាន់នៅតុលាការចាហើយអ្នកដែលការពារដីការពារប្រៃឈើគឺត្រូវបានទទួលនៅទោសទណ្ឌចាចា
I'm Supi. I'm not the forest traveler, but I'm from the land community. But the situation is quite the same. Like the landowner has been arrested or kept in jail, but those who are like a perpetrator, they have the power to do whatever they want. Not just only on the land grabbing cases, but related with the forest issue. Yeah.
ចាជាក់ស្ដែងអ្នកដីធ្លីមិនមែនមានតែខ្ញុំឯនៅប្រទេសកម្ពុជាគឺមានច្រើនប៉ុន្តែអ្នកដែលជាម្ចាស់ដីត្រូវបានរដ្ឋាភិបាលឬក៏តុលាការចាតុលាការចោទប្រកាន់ហើយប្តឹងដាក់ទោសទណ្ឌចាអានេះខ្ញុំនិយាយពីសហគមន៍ខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ខ្លួនខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ត្រូវបានតុលាការចោទប្រកាន់ពី5បទសម្រាប់ខ្លួនឯងផ្ទាល់ចាហើយគ្រួសារខ្ញុំក៏ត្រូវគេចាប់ដាក់ពន្ធនាគារដែរនឹងយើងជាម្ចាស់ដីវាអយុត្តិធម៌ណាស់សម្រាប់ដែលប្រជាពលរដ្ឋរស់នៅលើដីខ្លួនឯងគ្មានសិទ្ធិគ្រប់គ្រងដីចាត្រូវបាត់បង់សិទ្ធិកាន់កាប់ដីធ្លីសិទ្ធិរស់នៅសិទ្ធិលំនៅឋានរបស់ខ្លួនឯងក៏ត្រូវបាត់បង់ហើយខ្ញុំឃើញថានៅក្នុងសង្គមកម្ពុជាមិនមែនតែដីធ្លីទេព្រៃឈើអ្នកដែលការពារព្រៃឈើអ្នកដែលស្រឡាញ់សម្បត្តិធម្មជាតិត្រូវបានចោទប្រកាន់ពីតុលាការចោទថាយើងនឹងជាអ្នកបំផ្លាញយើងរស់នៅលើដីខុសច្បាប់ប៉ុន្តែច្បាប់កម្ពុជានៃកម្ពុជាបានចែងថាប្រជាពលរដ្ឋគ្រប់រូបមានសិទ្ធិរស់នៅលើដីខ្លួនឯងគ្រប់គ្រងនៅលើដីខ្លួនឯងប៉ុន្តែផ្ទុយទៅវិញបែរជាពលរដ្ឋដែលរស់នៅលើខ្លួនឯងត្រូវបានចាប់ដាក់ពន្ធនាគារត្រូវបានចោទប្រកាន់ពីតុលាការចាវាអយុត្តិធម៌ណាស់សម្រាប់ប្រជាពលរដ្ឋដែលរស់នៅ
I'm sorry she speak a lot, but we try to recap. Like for her case, the land grabbing or forest grabbing not just happened to her community, but there are many cases happening around Cambodia. Like for her family, there are 5 cases has been accused and the family has been imprisoned. And she said that based on the law, people have the right to live on their land, to occupy their land, to survive on their land. But the reality, it seems like we are become how to say like a grabber instead of a landowner. And this is happening not just only for land cases, but related with the forest, environmental activists or forestry activists around Cambodia. Yeah, this is so unfair and injustice. Yeah, for her.
ចាសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំគឺខ្ញុំនៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជាយើងនឹងមិនមែនតែរឿងដីធ្លីតែសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំមួយគឺក្រុមហ៊ុនផ្សេងហើយស្ត្រីផ្សេងទៀតភាគច្រើនស្ត្រីដែលតវ៉ាគឺត្រូវគេចាប់ដាក់ពន្ធនាគារមានអ្នកខ្លះគេយកទៅដាក់ខ្នោះនៅក្នុងពន្ធនាគារគឺវាអយុត្តិធម៌មែនទែនសម្រាប់ពួកយើងដែលជាស្ត្រីតវ៉ាចាហើយសម្រាប់ខ្លួនខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ក៏ត្រូវបាត់បង់ការងារដែរនាងខ្ញុំគឺជាអតីតគ្រូបង្រៀនបាត់បង់ការងារដែលខ្លួនឯងស្រឡាញ់បំផុតបច្ចុប្បន្នជីវភាពរបស់ពួកខ្ញុំគឺអត់មានអីផ្សារឡើងទេគឺមានតែក្រីក្រទៅឯណាទៅដែលរាជរដ្ឋាភិបាលថាឲ្យនេះមានមន្តរដ្ឋប៉ុន្តែពេលនេះប្រជាពលរដ្ឋខ្លួនឯងធ្លាក់ក្នុងភាពក្រីក្រហើយត្រូវចំណាក់ស្រុកមករកស៊ីនៅប្រទេសថៃចាជាច្រើន
thank you. She said that for the women activists also has been like harassed or keep in jail with the handcuff, and for her case, not just only lost the land, but she lost the a lovely job before she is the teacher, but by keep protesting for reclaiming the land, and she have dismissed from teaching, and causing her livelihood become extremely poor, and for some other family has been migrated. So what the propaganda of the government we promote the people are richer than the government. So what does it mean? So based on this action, meaning they doing something wrong, because the action is causing people into the impoverished family getting poorer and poorer. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
បាទជាដំបូងបាទខ្ញុំបាទឈ្មោះក្រុមវេទមកពីខេត្តសៀមរាបបាទនៅតំបន់ខ្ញុំក៏មានបញ្ហាដែរគឺมันខុសពីបងសុភីដែររឿងបញ្ហាប្រឈមនឹងតុលាការបាទខ្ញុំសកម្មជនតស៊ូរឿងដីធ្លីត្រូវតុលាការចោទប្រកាន់3ករណី3រឿងដែរបាទបាទតែខ្ញុំ
I'm living in Siem Reap. My case also is quite similar with her. By reclaiming my land, so the provincial court has been accused me within 3 cases. Yeah.
បាទបញ្ហាទី1ខ្ញុំតស៊ូមតិរឿងដីលំនៅឋានពួកខ្ញុំបាទដែលមានសហគមន៍81គ្រួសារទំហំដី10ហិកតា 63A ដែលពួកយើងទាមទារបាទ
The first case, I am reclaiming our residential land, which affected to 81 family. 10 hectare, 0.63 in total. Yeah.
បាទពួកខ្ញុំបានស្នើសុំតាំងពីឆ្នាំ92មករហូតដល់សប្តាហ៍ថ្ងៃហើយនៅតែមិនទាន់បានតែពួកយើងខ្ញុំបានទៅរស់នៅលើដីនឹងផ្ទាល់តែដី10ហិកតា 63A ហ្នឹងជាក់ស្ដែងយើងរស់នៅបានតែ4ហិកតាទេបាទក្រៅពីហ្នឹងពួកខាងយោធាក៏បានយកទៅលក់បាទយកទៅលក់ត្រូវគ្នាជាមួយអាជ្ញាធរមូលដ្ឋានយកទៅលក់បាទ
Actually, we has been reclaiming over land titles in 1992, but the reality we have only right to occupy more than 4 hectare among 10.63 hectare. Yeah.
បាទហើយគោលការណ៍បនរដ្ឋាភិបាលគាត់បានគោលការណ៍គាត់ត្រូវចែកឲ្យយើងនៅក្បាលដី7ម៉ែត្រគុណនឹង20តែយើងខ្ញុំសហគមន៍នឹងអត់បានទទួលយកទេដោយសារដីពួកយើងធំបាទទំហំ10ហិកតា 63A នៅសល់ត្រឹមតែ4ហិកតាហើយយើងរស់នៅជាក់ស្ដែងមានផ្ទះមានលបងអស់ហើយតែដោយសារយើងស្នើសុំត្រឹម10ក្បាល10ម៉ែត្រហើយបណ្ដោយទៅតាមចរៈភ្នំព្រោះអីផ្ទះពួកយើងរស់នៅតាមជើងភ្នំបាទបាទ
I just would like to add a little bit the rest of the land has been grabbed by the military and then sold it out to other people, and then the government just would like to negotiate a concession 7.7 meter multiple 20 meter long. So people are not happy because based on their land they have the residential house, they have the place for growing a tree or vegetable. So they say that we need a little bit bigger, 10 meter wide, and then the land should be up to the mountain because we live near the mountain, forest mountain. Yeah.
ពេលណាដែលយើងខ្ញុំបាទពេលណាដែលយើងខ្ញុំចង់ធ្វើផ្ទះអញ្ចឹងគាត់អត់អនុញ្ញាតអាជ្ញាធរគាត់អត់អនុញ្ញាតដោយសារគាត់ថាដីហ្នឹងមានចំនួនជាតំបន់សតែដោយឡែកខាងតាហ៊ានហើយជាមួយអាជ្ញាធរដែលគាត់បានធ្វើប្លង់ឲ្យគាត់លក់ឲ្យអ្នកដទៃគេធ្វើផ្ទះបានតែពួកខ្ញុំចង់ធ្វើផ្ទះធំដែលអត់បានបាទ
And when people want to build a house, they not allow. But the land has been sold to other by military. They can build the house, do whatever they want. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
He said that he have more cases. Whether that still have time for him or
Yep.
បញ្ហាមួយទៀតគឺរឿងដីអាងស្តុកទឹកទំនប់78បាទហ្នឹងជាដីកសិកម្មបាទពួកយើងធ្វើស្រែបាទអាងស្តុកទឹកទំនប់78ហ្នឹងមានទំហំ1096ហិកតាបាទយើងប្រើប្រាស់3ឃុំបាទ3ឃុំតែឥឡូវនេះមានឈ្មួញបុគ្គលខលខូចគាត់កាយហុំពាត់ធ្វើជាសម្បត្តិគាត់បុគ្គលបាទហើយយើងកំពុងតស៊ូមតិបាទស្នើសុំដើម្បីទុកជាប្រយោជន៍រួមឲ្យកូនចៅចំនួនក្រោយនឹងយើងសប្តាហ៍នេះបានធ្វើស្រែតទៅព្រោះអីយើងប្រើប្រាស់នៅក្រោមអាងស្តុកទឹកហ្នឹងធ្វើស្រែប្រាំងរហូតដល់ចំនួនជាង2000គ្រួសារបាទ
Another case is related with the natural reservoir. There are like more than 1,078 hectares. But right now, the private company has been grabbed the land, and people try to protest to stop the private company because the natural reservoir has been irrigated to more than 2,000 family for dry rice season. Yeah.
ហើយនៅសម័យកូវីដបាទកូវីដហ្នឹងយើងបានរកស៊ីនៅកន្លែងហ្នឹងអាស្រ័យផលកន្លែងហ្នឹងហើយដែលយើងអត់មានការងារអីយើងរកត្រីបេះបន្លែបាទរើសខ្យងអីបាននៅកន្លែងហ្នឹងច្រើនបាទសម្រាប់គ្រួសារដែលយើងអត់មានការងារធ្វើនៅសម័យកូវីដបាទអរគុណបាទ
And he said that during the COVID period, because of the natural reservoir, it provide a lot of like local food system like fish, vegetable, or other like snail or something, you know, that can. So when people have no job to do, the natural reservoir provide a lot of like a livelihood alternative for local one. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. I think like it's a one shot, very short one. Okay, just like it's a 2 minutes. Just one person.
បាទសូមជម្រាបសួរខ្ញុំឈ្មោះសឹមគុជមកពីខេត្តដើមជ័យខ្ញុំសូមលើកឡើងពីបញ្ហាព្រៃឈើគឺព្រៃឈើនេះមិនមែនព្រៃឈើឯកជនឬក៏ព្រៃឈើកម្មសិទ្ធិរបស់ខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ទេគឺជាព្រៃឈើសហគមន៍ណាក្រោយពីបានប្រជាប្រដ្ឋនៅតំបន់នោះដោយសារឃើញមានតំបន់នោះជាតំបន់មានព្រៃឈើស្រោងធំពោះក៏ប្រជាប្រដ្ឋក្នុងសហគមន៍នោះបានសម្រេចចិត្តដាក់ទីនោះជាព្រៃសហគមន៍ក្រោយមកក៏បានទទួលស្គាល់ដោយក្រសួងបរិស្ថានក៏ដូចជារដ្ឋបាលព្រៃឈើក្រោយពីយើងថែរក្សាព្រៃនោះបានគង់វង្សល្អក៏ល្អតទៅក្រោយមកឃើញព្រៃល្អហើយនឹងមានដីល្អក៏មានអាជ្ញាធរតាក់ទងនឹងកងទ័ពគឺយកកងទ័ពទៅដាក់នៅទីនោះ
For him, he live in the Dorminjay, like because that area is full of forest, and then community has been like agreed to form the community forest. Later on, it was recognized by Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery, and also recognized by Ministry of Environment. But because of like seeing that area is full of forest, the local authority are colluded with the military to settle down the military base inside the community forest.
ក្រោយពីកងទ័ពក៏ដូចជាយោធាក៏ទៅបោះទីតាំងនៅទីនោះមកកាពិតជាគិតមុនដំបូងគិតសុំយើងក្នុងនាមថាដាក់កងទ័ពបដោះសន្តិក្រោយពីគេដាក់កងទ័ពបដោះសន្តិមកកងទ័ពកាន់តែមកច្រើនទៅហើយពេលកងទ័ពមកច្រើនយើងឃើញមានការជួសឆាយមាន excavator មាន SK មានអីទៅជួសឆាយព្រៃហើយយើងក៏បានរាយការណ៍ទៅដល់សាលាឃុំក៏ដោយរដ្ឋបាលស្រុកពេលនោះកន្លងមកថ្មីឃើញមានស្រុកចុះទៅសហការជាមួយយើងហើយខិតបាន SK ចេះទៅឲ្យដកចេញដល់ជាច្រើនខែច្រើនឆ្នាំក្រោយមកយើងខិតថ្ងៃនេះស្អែកគេមកទៀតខាន់ស្អែកគេមកកាយទៀតដល់នេះទៅរហូតដល់គេកងទ័ពមកដាក់ពេញដីនោះទៅដោយសារគេអាជ្ញាធរកងទ័ពមានអំណាចចុះក៏បានឈូសឆាយព្រៃយើងបានទៅទប់ស្កាត់យើងបានទៅអីក៏គេបានគម្រាមកំហែងយើងទាក់ទងការទប់ស្កាត់ដោយមានអង្គការផ្សេងចូលរួមទៅជួយទប់ស្កាត់គេអត់ស្ដាប់គេអត់ខ្លាចគេគម្រាមកំហែងយើងចាប់ដាក់គុកយើងអីទៅផ្សេងរហូតដល់បច្ចុប្បន្ននេះព្រៃរបស់យើងគឺរលាយខ្លាយទៅជាចំការដំឡូងជាការអំពៅខ្លាយជាផ្ទះទាហានខ្លាយជារបស់ក្រុមហ៊ុនផ្សេងនឹងជាផលិបាតធ្វើឲ្យជាប្រដ្ឋរបស់យើងខ្ញុំនៅតំបន់នោះគឺបាត់បង់ព្រៃឈើបាត់បង់ការចំណូលផ្សេងពីព្រៃឈើនេះបាទសូមអរគុណ
Like at first, they just would like to ask to settle the military base, but later on, there are more and more. The military family has been like a settled or living there, and then the forest has been clear. And after they clear, they sell it to like the rich people or the company, and then finally, all the community forest has been gone. This is like making so much trouble for local community, become poorer and poorer as they have no job, no forest, and they have no livelihood for them. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing the stories with us. And Joanna, like it seems the like land grabbing, the green grabbing, and also the land issue happening aloud, like it's in this region. We like to hear your thought on this issue. Yeah, please.
Thank you. First, thank you everyone for sharing your stories. I hope we have more time to get more of this exchange because that's how we all can learn. You are the people that are living in the forest and you for sure hold the biggest knowledge on these struggles. First, I wanted to recognize that. I just want to make it very short, but bring another layer to the discussion on the threat of conservation, of how conservation can be a threat nowadays, especially as very extensively and very good and strong Kung and Soumitra have exposed. The crimes in the forest is something that happens since colonial times, and it takes different shapes and new ways on how to call it, how to name it, but they mostly are looking for the profit and for grabbing the territories. So what we are seeing now in the context of climate change and the climate policies is a new wave of trying to grab more forest territories. And how is that possible? So how does protecting forests, or so-called protecting forest, has to do with fossil fuels or climate change, right? Well, from the climate policies, the idea of being, you must have heard, the idea of net zero emissions or carbon neutral or low carbon economy. It takes many names of net zero deforestation. No matter the name, the logic behind these words are very important because it hides a threat to forest peoples and forest territories. All this wording, what it hides is a concept that is largely under what is offsetting or compensating. And that basically means that the pollution that the fossil fuel industries, the industries of infrastructure for constructing roads, the factories, different industries, all that pollution in their logic can be compensated by having a project somewhere else in someone's land that is supposedly compensating that pollution. And those projects can look like different things. It can be from a wind farm, so windmills, but large scale, to industrial monoculture plantations of eucalyptus trees, to avoiding deforestation. And that's where protected areas come, because they claim that they are avoiding deforestation. So they take a forest, they fence it, like Soumitra was telling, it happens in India, and then they say that these trees, this forest there that is enclosed, is compensated the pollution that the companies are making somewhere else, the factories, the road constructions, all these industries. And what does this entail for forest territories? Basically, it is a double land grab. We can say a lot about this, and we have not enough time to go through all the details, and I invite you to talk later in the pause if you're interested. But what I want to highlight here is that every offset, every government, every company that is talking about net zero emissions or carbon neutral, these commitments in the United Nations and all this wording, it means that the industries not only are destroying territories where they extract, where they refine, where they transport, they are not only militarizing those territories and create loads of severe consequences where they operate, but they are also creating many projects which include the expansion of protected areas without people. This is called fortress conservation, and it comes from this colonial idea and racist idea that people cannot live with nature. And therefore, we have seen many evictions throughout the history, but now it comes with a bit of a new wave. There is this idea that is being discussed in the United Nations that is called the 30 by 30 target. What it aims is that 30% of all the world's surface should be turned into a protected area by 2030. That means that 30% of the land on Earth would be without people or without people's rights. So if people are allowed to stay, people are not allowed to live how they used to live, they are not allowed to harvest, they are not allowed to use their own forests. The loss is incredibly deep in many layers. Cambodia, and I say the case of Cambodia because I see that there are many people joining from there. They are the country in the Mekong, the only country that have signed in the UN this 30 by 30 target. They mean that they are gonna thrive for having more and more protected areas in order to claim that they have net zero emissions in a country level. So it is important because when we hear the government say, yeah, we are aiming for net zero emissions, it sounds good. But we need to politicize what this means. We need to unpack and see all the grabbing that is behind this wording. So I was looking yesterday, and all the countries in the Mekong are talking about net zero emissions by different deadlines, 2030, 2050. All this is based on this logic that I was telling. And it doesn't matter the name. They call it different ways in different countries. It can be called RED, reducing emissions for deforestation or forest degradation. It can be called just compensation. The government is compensating. It can be called net zero alone. But all this means that more land grabbing and more dispossession. And the logic is extremely perverted and is based on assumptions that has nothing to do. So it worsens, of course, the climate, but what is more important, it worsens the situation in the forest territories, and it increases the crimes in the forests.
Yeah, thanks, Joanna, for sharing us I think like in Thailand also happening like is as you shared that is now the carbon credit that is the Thai government call it like it's about the way the Thai government doing at the moment, like they prepare the forest land for the company, the private companies, and to exit and to use that land for the like plantation, and sometimes they use the natural forest and to claim to like a kind of the carbon credit to compensate like is what they emit from their own like it's a factory. That's those kinds of things happening in Thailand as well. So like it's yeah, and also like it's a lot of discourses like it's produced by the like it's a corporation. I like to ask you like it's more like it's in this movement who is like the key actors, like it's from at the like it's a regional and international level that we need to like is keep our eyes on them.
Yes, absolutely. Like we see, for example, in places like in Brazil, there is a place in Brazil that is called Acre in the middle of the Amazon. And this was used as a sort of experiment of this idea of the green economy, no? That where we can use the forest to compensate for the pollution and destruction that is happening elsewhere. And over the years, what we see that has been increasingly pressuring against this is the resistance of people and the organization of people around this. It has been very useful for having communities exchanging between themselves what are the problems behind these projects, to understand really the threats that these projects entail, because it's not always that people are getting evicted from their territories, but sometimes they allow them to stay there, but then they lose autonomy over how they can live. They lose their rights on being able to live how they know to live. And the most worrisome part, and I think that we have learned over the years from people across Africa and the Mekong region as well, and Latin America in the Amazon, is that the racist idea that all these projects, or almost all the projects, blame forest peoples for being the threat on deforestation. So for them, in the logic, that's why the focus is not on stopping oil production or on stopping the road construction that destroys the forest. That's not their focus. They don't want to stop that capitalist machine, which is the interest behind. The focus is on the forest people and the forest territories, and in the documents, one can read that the reason why this is necessary, this project is necessary, is because forest peoples are a threat to the forest. And that we have found over and over in all the projects that we come and that we come across. It's a common line, it's a common narrative that comes from this colonialist idea and this racist idea that it's forest people that have to change the way they relate to forests. So normally, these offset projects that are on the forest, when they don't evict the people, they have social projects, they call it, or they want to be certified for social benefits on top of what they claim. And then they teach forest communities how to use a different type of agriculture, because Sweden agriculture or shifting agriculture is mainly portrayed as terrible. And then communities are locked into using technology that is owned by corporations, seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and a chain of products that they have to use because they are obliged to change their knowledge, their way of relating with their forest. And that is something that is common occurrence. So for me, it's really important to politicize the new kind of phase and shape that is turning this land grabbing and this forest grabbing, and also the grabbing of the rights of forest people, which the autonomy of forest people, which I think is a big threat, and we need to unite or get more aware of it and talk more about it so that we can build more resistance.
Yeah. Okay, Pikung, yeah, we like to hear from you that is it's in the context of the forest camps, you have it's how to defending the lives of the local people and forest communities in this context. Do you have any thought on that? Huh?
Thank you, Sulin. ชาวบ้านไทยก็พยายามต่อสู้เหมือนกับพี่น้องกัมพูชาพยายามต่อสู้ the same word ต่อสู้
In Thai is ต่อสู้ and struggle in Cambodia is ต่อสู้ We also try to mobilize our coalition and support from different regions. We also have been struggle for 20 years. And we also, despite some of us were in jail, and they try to secure, the amnesty laws from the government so that they will not be in jail anymore and they will be released. Then they now are demanding the Amnesty Act for the forest crimes, for the forest dweller, despite this will not happen in the near future, but the forest dweller in Thailand proposed the government to address this problem collectively. They also talk about collective land ownership and community land ownership, where the community can utilize the land without owning them. And Thai community members also want the government to recognize the right to communities' land ownership. They also demand the laws to implement the Justice Fund, which will provide them with legal aid, legal assistance, as well as surety money if they get arrested from forest crime. The legal aid and also assistance is important for the Thai people who have been struggle in terms of against forest reclamation, and I want to know how the Cambodian people have tried to struggle on the policy level. I understand that we are differences, but it is necessary to share experience and things like that. Many people from Cambodia, you also have other community members that are suffering from this so-called the green grabbing, from Joanna's country. You are not alone. You have the friends globally, you have comrades globally who face the same situation in India, in South America, and in Thailand. And if we continue the struggle, one day we will win. But how do you trust the government? I don't trust the government. I trust us.
Okay. Yeah. We compare. Yeah. Okay. Like I just asked Pikung, that is how we can trust our government in this process of try to solve the problem, because what I have seen myself is the government now try to be a facilitator to help the private sector to get access to the forest. And then what we like to know now they focusing on the benefit sharing between the government and the private sector. So they see the money, the financial coming from the private sector and going to the forest area, and then they set up the policy 10% of the investment will go to the official, the forest department, and 90% go to the the proposed actors like that. So that is happening in Thailand as well. So last, I like to ask Soumitra, do you have any last thought on how to move out of this struggle?
Yeah. What I would like to share now is a question of how we really, it's not only important to know what's happening on the ground, how the plunder is taking place, how people are being looted, how the governments and the corporations together are killing and plundering and looting. It's not important to know only that. It's important to think about how we stop the governments and the corporations from doing this. And to do this, I think we have to stop, and this I feel strongly from my several decades experience of working with the communities in India, and also, by learning so many stories from so many other countries. So it is not possible to find a solution with a system which allows this, which allows the governments, the states, and the corporations to come together and to evict people from their homeland, to tell them that you are criminals if you use forests, you are criminals if you do farming inside the forest, or if you take anything from the forests out. So the governments and the corporations should decide what would happen in people's lands, people's forests, people's water. There is a system which lets the governments and the corporations do this. And the system is capitalism. Unless we identify that, the real enemy, the real threat, and we try to think of our struggles which have to move out from the terrain, and the terrain is widespread, the terrain is everywhere. Capital wants us to believe, the state wants us to believe that their projects have safety valves, that even if they emit continuously, even if they keep on emitting carbon and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere endlessly, that can still be offset by some forest somewhere, by some plantation somewhere. They lie and lie like anything. And they want us to believe those lies. They want our knowledge system, the way we know things, to change. Because once we start believing them, when we start playing their game, it's their game which they control from the top. It can be the UN space, it can be the ASEAN space, it can be other regional bodies, it can be anything. But that is their space controlled by the big states and corporations together. So we have to start finding answers where we are strong, and that's what we are trying to do in very few spaces, because it's very difficult to do. In the villages where we are strong, we are trying to mobilize people there, through village assemblies, and to say that, we won't allow you to come inside our forests, to take our forests away from us. And if we do that, then of course the state would come with its police, with its military, people would be tyrannized, people would be tortured, and they would be jailed, but there is no shortcut to it. Because unfortunately, we might believe in democracy, but the states and the corporations, they do not believe in democracy. It's true, even it's not true only about a state like Myanmar, where military dictatorship is on the helm. It's true for a so-called largest democracy of the world, India, as well. It's true for any other country where the corporations feel any sort of threat, they will go and seek help from the government, and government should help it. Because ultimately the question is to keep the system going. The system which is built on profit, which thrives on profit making, and no government is going to change that on its own unless the people pressurize, unless the people mobilize, unless the people come together and try to change the system.
Thank you, Soumitra. Not paying like is in the games that controlled and set up by the government and the system. We need to like is fight our own thing and like is move on that. I think like and what I heard from today like is access to our homeland is not criminal. Is our right to access to our land, to like to live in our own land, in our homeland. That is and also like defending and protecting of the lives of local people is a key to this. When we like to move out from this struggle, that is the key message from this session. And yeah, we like from here from all of you, like it's a bit, but because of the time limitation, so like we like to stop now. And thank you so much all speakers and also friends from Cambodia for sharing the stories. That is a very touch story, and yeah, we can work together in the future to move out from this struggle. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you to all panelists. So now we are going to break for 30 minutes. So please come back at